In the United States alone, over 521,000 missing persons cases were reported in 2021. Imagine how many people go missing around the whole world every year. With the rise of camera technology, more video evidence is being used to find missing persons. While some footage is extremely helpful in finding people, others aren't, and it's oftentimes the last these people would ever be recorded. Here are videos of missing people taken right before they disappeared. Gabby Patito. In the case that rocked the United States, footage of Gabby Patito, a young girl who was murdered by her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, gives insight into the couple's rocky relationship. The couple had purchased a van and were traveling to all the national parks together. The video was taken by an officer's body camera. The officers responded to a call from Gabby, who was with her boyfriend in Moab, Utah. Gabby stated that she had gotten into an argument with her boyfriend that ended up turning physical.
We want to know the truth if he actually hit you.
I guess, yeah, but I hit him first.
Where did he hit you? Don't worry, just be honest.
He grabbed my face.
Slap your face or what?
Well, he grabbed me with his nail, and I guess that's why it was. I definitely have a cut right here because I could feel it when I touched it. It burns.
In the video, it is clear to see that Gabby was very distressed by the incident, crying and shaking as she spoke to the officers. Gabby admitted in the video that she hit her boyfriend first, but then he grabbed her face and dug his nails into her cheeks.
Well, to be honest, I definitely hit him first.
Where'd you hit him?
I slapped him.
You slapped him first? And then just on his face?
He gets kind of just shut up.
The worst part about the video is that after working with the couple, the officers let them leave, saying that they don't see this turning into anything and that it was just a slap fight between an engaged couple who love each other.
In no way, shape, or form that I can perceive does what happened here, a little slap fight between fiancés who love each other and want to be together, can I perceive that this is going to digress into the situation where he's going to be a battered man? Right. But then again, I don't have a crystal ball.
Shortly after this incident, Gabby was reported missing, and her boyfriend Brian was nowhere to be found. Police found Gabby's body near Grand Teton National Park, and it was clear that she had been murdered just days after the body cam video was taken. Brian Laundrie remained on the run from police for weeks after, until he ended his own life in October 2021.
Investigators have not named Laundrie as a suspect in Patito's death. As for the city of Moab, they say they have no comment right now on this additional video, guys, or on the status of their investigation into that incident. As for the police department there in Utah, they did not respond to NBC News' request for comment.
Andrew Gosden. At age 14, Andrew Gosden withdrew 200 pounds from his bank account and purchased a one-way train ticket from Doncaster to London in September 2007. Despite his friends and family's cries to the public for information on what Andrew was doing that day, there's been no information on his disappearance. The only evidence the family has is the video footage from when Andrew was last seen at King's Cross Station. The video is merely of Andrew walking through the station and exiting, but it's the last place he was ever seen alive. To this day, the family of Andrew Gosden has no answers as to what happened to him. In December 2021, 2 men were arrested as suspects in the case. They were charged with human trafficking of Andrew, but there was not enough evidence to support the charges. Emma Philipoff. Emma Philipoff was last seen by eyewitnesses leaving the Empress Hotel in Victoria, British Columbia. She was only 26 at the time of her disappearance. Police have no idea where she went or what might have happened to her.
After weeks of searching on land with no results, Victoria Police took to the water today as they searched for clues in the disappearance of Emma Philipoff. She turned 27 this past weekend, and she's now been missing for 42 days.
One of the only clues that helped the investigation was footage of Emma from a security camera at a YMCA gym. In the video, Emma enters the gym, then leaves, then enters again and leaves. She does this multiple times, and people have speculated that she may have been trying to avoid someone who was following her. This was the last video ever taken of her, but police couldn't pull any solid clues from it, as the security camera does not catch what Emma might be avoiding. To this day, Emma has not been found, and there's no new evidence in her case. McKee. On September 23, 2016, McKee was out partying and drinking with his friends in Bury St. Edmund, England. As the night progresses, Corey and his friends made their way to Flex nightclub. Corey became extremely drunk and was asked by the doorman to leave the club. The doorman said that Corey was very polite and did not put up a fight with the doorman about leaving. Corey left with his friends around 1 a.m. in the early hours of September 24th and started to walk home. No one heard from Corey for the rest of the weekend, but when he did not show up to work the following Monday, his friends and family filed a missing persons report. The police accessed CCTV surveillance cameras located outside the club to determine what had happened to Corey. In the footage, Corey had been stumbling around the streets for about 2 hours. The last time he was seen on the security camera footage was around 3 a.m. when he was walking down a cul-de-sac and walked behind some garbage bins. Police tracked his phone and found it in a garbage truck. They assumed that Corey might have just thrown his phone away. Police had suspected that maybe Corey had accidentally been thrown into the garbage truck, but when the contents of the truck was weighed, it only came to 33 pounds. Corey weighs 200 pounds. However, later in the investigation, it was discovered that there had been a mistake and that the garbage truck's contents had weighed 222 pounds. The most popular theory about Corey's disappearance is that he drunkenly fell asleep next to the garbage bins and was picked up and crushed in the truck. While this belief is the most popular, there's never been enough evidence to close the case. Trevor Daly. After attending a Christmas party on December 7, 2007, Trevor Daly left the nightclub at 3:25 a.m. Because there was a huge rainstorm and the fact that Trevor had to walk home because of a taxi strike, he stopped in his office after the club to make himself a cup of tea and wait out the storm for a little bit. At 4:03 a.m., Trevor left his office and called a friend, saying that he was walking home and would see him tomorrow. Sadly, Trevor would not ever see his friend again. Trevor was last seen on CCTV camera footage. In the footage, when Trevor enters his office, he stops and talks to a man dressed in black standing outside. The man had been waiting there for more than 30 minutes. When Trevor leaves his office, the man is no longer there, but CCTV taken from outside a bank shows Trevor walking past on his way home and being followed nearly 30 seconds after by the man in black he had spoken to in front of his office. The police asked the public for information on the man, but nothing came of it. No more evidence was found that could be tied to Trevor's disappearance. Brian Shaffer. Brian Shaffer was a 27-year-old medical student at Ohio State University. On March 31, 2006, Brian went out drinking with some friends to celebrate the beginning of spring break. Brian and his friend Clint bar hopped to many places that night, but wound up at the Ugly Tuna Saloon. There, Brian was separated from his friends. When the bar closed, Brian's friends waited for him outside, but Brian never walked out of the bar. They assumed he had just gone home earlier by himself. A few days later, Brian missed the flight to Miami, a trip he was excited to take with his girlfriend. After that, he was reported missing. The only evidence police could find was a clip from a security camera outside the Ugly Tuna Saloon. In it, Brian can be seen talking to a couple of girls, nothing out of the ordinary. However, the footage is strange because there was only one exit to the bar, and Brian was never caught on camera leaving. To this day, there have been no more discoveries or information on Brian's whereabouts. Tiffany Whitton. In September 2013, Tiffany Whitton was caught shoplifting in Walmart. Security captured the entire incident of her being caught and escorted her out of the store. This was the last time she was ever seen. Tiffany had problems with drug abuse, so her mother was not very concerned when she lost contact with her 26-year-old daughter. In fact, she was so unconcerned that she didn't report Tiffany missing till 4 months later in January of 2014. Police questioned Tiffany's boyfriend, who was the last person to be seen with her. However, he claims to this day that he has no idea what happened to her. Because of how long it took to report her disappearance, any evidence that could help find Tiffany was long gone. Kenny Veach. Kenny Veach was a YouTuber who went by the name Snakebit McKee online. Kenny was a long-distance hiker who would post videos about his discoveries and explorations along his hike. In the fall of 2014, Kenny posted a comment under one of his videos titled, "Son of an Area 51 Technician." The comment said, "That ain't nothing, I'm a long-distance hiker. One time during one of my hikes out by Nellis Air Force Base, I found a hidden cave. The entrance to the cave was shaped like a perfect capital M. I always enter every cave I find, but as I began to enter this particular cave, my whole body began to vibrate. The closer I got to the cave entrance, the worse the vibrating became. Suddenly, I became very scared and I hightailed it out of there. This was one of the strangest things that ever happened to me. Kenny's viewers begged Kenny to go out, finding the cave again and video it. Kenny made several attempts to find the M cave again, but wasn't able to find it. The last video he posted was titled M Cave Hike, where he filmed himself trying to find the cave. The only things he found in that video were an abandoned mine shaft and a bighorn sheep. On November 10, 2014, Kenny set out for a short overnight trip to try and find the cave again. He never returned. Kenny's girlfriend alerted the police 2 days from when Kenny had said he would return home. Police searched for Kenny and found his phone next to the abandoned mine shaft from his last video. The search for Kenny had fizzled out due to lack of clues. 2 years later, Kenny's alleged girlfriend, Sharon Pilgrim, posted a comment underneath Kenny's last video. The comment stated that she believed Kenny had gone out to the M cave to take his own life. She said that Kenny had been struggling with depression and had quit his job a year before he disappeared. She had said that when he left, he hadn't taken a video camera with him like he usually did when hiking, and she believed that he had left his phone by the mine shaft so no one could track him. Whether he took his own life or succumbed to the harsh desert landscape of Nevada, Kenny's body has never been found. Abby Williams and Liberty German. Abby Williams, age 13, and Liberty German, age 14, were dropped off by Liberty's older sister by Manon High Bridge near Delphi, Indiana, for a hike on February 13, 2017. The girls never returned home.
Believe it or not, it's been more than 5 years now that 2 young girls went missing in a small town in Indiana. They were found murdered, and the case still hasn't been solved.
They were reported missing that night by family members, and their bodies were discovered near the High Bridge the next day.
2022 will mark 5 years since the teens' bodies were found near the old Monon High Bridge in Delphi in Carroll County.
There were no clues as to who might have taken their lives at that scene. However, upon retrieval of Liberty's phone, police found video of a man who could possibly be a suspect in the investigation. Liberty had taken the video of the man following her and Abby, and in the video, the man can be heard telling the girls, "Down the hill." Down the hill. Down the hill. Police commended Liberty for having the bravery to trust her gut and film the man in such a horrifying situation. Despite the video footage, the man was never able to be identified, and the murderer is still at large. Dalekerstetter. Dalekerstetter worked as a night security guard at Corning Glassworks in Pennsylvania. At 11 p.m. on September 12, 1987, Dale went in for a normal day at work. However, he would never return home. When the morning security guard arrived, he could not find Dale, although his truck was still in the parking lot. He also discovered that $250,000 of platinum pipe was missing. When police checked the security camera footage, they saw video of Dale being escorted out of the building by a man who had his hand pressed up against Dale's back. It was assumed that the man was threatening Dale with a gun or other weapon. The video also showed the man stealing the platinum pipe, but did not show any signs of where he had taken Dale. People speculated that Dale may have been in on the heist, as he looks directly at the camera multiple times throughout the footage. However, his family disagrees, saying he would never risk losing them. Sadly, Dale's family has not received any more updates on where Dale may be. Susan Powell. This video is one of the last videos ever taken of Susan Powell before her disappearance. She took the video herself to explain what should happen to all her assets if anything happened to her.
Covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us, that our assets are documented.
Susan seemed to be worried about her husband, Josh Powell, doing something to her. The video details the value of items in Susan's home and statements from her saying, "I want it documented that there is extreme turmoil in our marriage, and if I die, it may not be an accident, even if it looks like one."
And I am documenting all our assets, just in case of any emergencies, fire, flood, damage, disputes.
This video was taken in July 2008. A little more than a year later, on December 6, 2009, was the last time Susan was ever seen in public, while she attended church with her 2 sons, Charlie and Braden. At first, the entire Powell family was reported missing, when the extended family did not know their whereabouts. Susan's purse, wallet, and phone had been found left at their house. Josh returned home with the boys on December 7th, but without Susan. He claimed that he had taken the boys camping in Simpson Springs, Utah, leaving a little after 12 a.m. on December 7th, and that he had left Susan sleeping in her bed. Police went to Simpson Springs on December 10th and found no evidence that Josh had camped there. Later, police would interview Charlie, the oldest son, who told them that Susan had come on the camping trip with them but never returned. People have speculated that Josh may have murdered Susan and dropped her body in an abandoned mine shaft near their home. However, Josh was never charged with anything in Susan's disappearance because he took his own life and the lives of their two sons after Susan's parents won custody of the two boys. Steve Karcher. In this video, taken on December 13, 2009, by a nearby home security camera, Stephen Karcher can be seen parking his car at the end of the cul-de-sac, getting out of his car and walking away. He was never seen again. Stephen lived in St. George, Utah at the time of his disappearance. He was reported missing a few days later when he stopped showing up to work and church activities. Police found that Stephen had inexplicably driven all over Utah and Nevada, racking up a total distance of 1,100 miles driven in just the past week. There is no information as to where Stephen may have gone or why. He was mentioned in the Susan Powell case. Josh Powell claimed that Susan Powell and Stephen Karcher had had an affair and ran away together, as the two disappeared within a week of each other. Both Susan and Stephen's families disputed the claims. No information has been uncovered about Stephen's whereabouts to this day. Before we play the last clip, you've watched this far. Why not consider subscribing to our channel? I post 2 new scary videos every week, so subscribe to make sure you stay up to date with the new releases. Lars Matank. Lars Matank had been vacationing in Bulgaria, but before leaving for home, he had gotten into a fight which resulted in his eardrum bursting. Because of his injury, Lars was unable to fly home with his friends. He had to be cleared by doctors before he could fly. While Lars stayed by himself in Bulgaria, people reported that he started to act really strange. On the day he was finally supposed to fly back home, Lars called his mom and told her that people were trying to kill him. At the airport, he was caught on security footage sprinting out of the airport and heading towards a forest nearby. He was never seen again. The security footage of Lars went viral on YouTube, and he has now been dubbed the most famous missing person on YouTube. However, Lars' internet fame has not helped in finding him. Police are still at a loss for the cause of Lars' erratic behavior and disappearance.